Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Wednesday, 7th May 2027, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Trinidad and Tobago's spanking new administration took up duties on Monday. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago's new government is now officially in action. Just days after being sworn in, cabinet ministers, junior ministers and parliamentary secretaries began their official duties on Monday. Mahalia Joseph Wharton of TTT News has more.
Following Saturday's swearing in at President's House, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar and her full slate of cabinet ministers, junior ministers and parliamentary secretaries wasted no time settling into their roles. From energy to education, ministers were briefed by permanent secretaries and senior staff as they began charting the course for the new administration's legislative and policy agenda. Leading the charge in National Security, Minister of Defense Wayne Sturge and Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander both have vowed to tackle crime as it continues to be an issue in the country. At the Ministry of Health, Dr. Lakram Bodo and Minister in the Ministry, Dr. Rashad Sicharan, received briefings and were welcomed by staff at the Ministry. Minister of the People, Social Development and Family Services, Vandana Mohit, said she's busy and ready to work.
I met with some old colleagues, some old friends. I once worked here, so it's my pleasure to be here as a minister this morning. I look forward to working with each and everyone to make our country and our people happy.
Michelle Benjamin, now at the helm of Culture and Community Development, was congratulated by the staff of the ministry. In a release, it said her academic background in environmental and natural resource management, coupled with her previous work in the Ministry of Culture and Community, positions her to bridge cultural heritage with sustainable community initiatives. Over at Housing with Minister Dr. David Lee and Minister in the Ministry, Anil Roberts, the staff there expressed that they look forward to a successful and impactful tenure under their stewardship. Infrastructure development is also in focus, with Jolene John heading the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, while Eli Zakur took charge of the newly created Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation. With over 50 years of combined experience in strategic leadership, business and public service, the staff at the ministry said the ministers bring energy, expertise, and a deep commitment to building a better, more connected Trinidad and Tobago. Permanent secretaries and senior staff welcomed the incoming teams, offering policy briefings and tours of their respective ministries. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
St. Kitts and Nevis's Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew indicated that he will be among leaders of the OECS member states and the Bahamas to have met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday, 6th May. Glenn Bart of SKN Newsline reports.
The meeting was announced to citizens and residents by Prime Minister Drew speaking in the 2nd May sitting of the National Assembly.
That I am invited to a meeting along with other leaders from the OECS and the Bahamas to meet with the Secretary of State of the United States of America. I'm talking about His Excellency Marco Rubio. That meeting is to be held on the 6th of May in Washington, D.C. at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I will be accompanied by Foreign Minister Honorable the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. I'll also be accompanied by the ambassador, our ambassador to the United States of America, Her Excellency Jacinth Henry Martin, along with my press secretary. We will leave here in the early evening of Monday 5th to arrive in Washington, D.C. to attend that meeting. And the outcomes from that meeting will be shared with the people. So I just wanted to put that on the official record that we'll be traveling to Washington. Important matters to deal with international, hemispheric, regional, and of course, local issues. So that is to inform our people as to that trip that will take place on the 5th of May.
Previous to this meeting, Secretary of State Rubio met with other leaders of CARICOM countries. Now, OECS prime ministers will have the opportunity to discuss foreign and economic U.S. policies implemented by President Donald Trump that threaten long-standing Caribbean-U.S. collaborative relationships. Glenn Bard reporting for SK Newsline.
Jamaica's Commissioner of Police said the tide is turning on violent crime and shoots back at critics of the efforts of the JCF to combat crime in Jamaica. More in this CVM News item.
Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake has returned fire at critics about the services of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and its efforts to reduce major crimes and improve security.
Even as we make gains, there are those who seek to sow seeds of discord and mistrust, who try to paint our officers as anything but the professionals they are. Let me be clear. We are a disciplined, modern law enforcement agency with a constitutional mandate to serve and protect all Jamaicans without fear, favor, or ill will.
Citing considerable reductions in major crimes as evidence of the broader strategic efforts of the JCF, the Commissioner provides a counter-argument to claims of excessive use of deadly force in relation to the apprehension of armed men.
These criminals act with shocking boldness, often recording and sharing their crimes on social media, displaying a chilling disregard for life and law. So, should it surprise anyone that these same criminals who murder at will turn their weapons on members of the security forces? Let me reassure you, we are undeterred. We will not retreat, we will not yield. The safety and security of the Jamaican people remain our mission, our duty, and our commitment. April 2025 has marked another historic milestone. For the second time this year, we have recorded the lowest number of murders in over 2 decades. 44 lives were lost in April compared to 82 in the same month last year. This follows our previous record in February when we reported 48 murders, the lowest figure in over 25 years. These are not just statistics. Each number represents lives saved, communities stabilized, and a signal that the tide is turning.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
It has been confirmed that Dr. Dexter Todd, a certified forensic expert and prominent attorney, is now representing the family of Adriana Young as the lead counsel in this high-profile and emotionally charged case in Guyana.
Dr. Todd, speaking shortly after the completion of the autopsy, emphasized that the cause of death and the manner of death are not the same, and called on police investigators to focus now on establishing the manner in which Young died. In a pointed statement, Dr. Todd outlined several critical questions that must guide the ongoing investigation. Was the drowning accidental? Was the drowning the result of homicide? What were the circumstances surrounding how her death occurred? He further insisted that a toxicology report is needed to determine if any substances were present in Young's system, and called for a diatom test, a forensic tool used to determine if drowning occurred before death. Importantly, Dr. Todd raised concerns about the effect of decomposition on the accuracy of the findings, suggesting that the timeline and condition of the body may complicate conclusive results.
Over in Antigua, where the buyer of the Alfa Nero super yacht has confirmed in a sworn statement that he paid US $40 million for the vessel. Ali Reza Ildirim of YM Thunder One Shipping, based in Malta, says there was no other payment or transfer of money linked to the vessel's sale. This disproves claims circulating in some quarters suggesting the vessel was sold for $50 million. Attorneys for several Antigua and Movants have also filed a request in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York to have subpoenas requesting financial disclosures quashed. Those subpoenas have been requested by Yulia Goyeva Motlokov, a Russian citizen. She has filed a case for disclosure claiming she is the owner of the Alfa Nero super yacht, which was sold by the government of Antigua and Barbuda last July. A U.S. judge recently made a decision to partially lift the stay on the disclosure of confidential financial records of several Antiguan officials, including Prime Minister Gaston Brown, but only under the strictest of conditions. Africa News reports tensions continue to boil over in Haiti's capital as protesters march through the hills of Port-au-Prince demanding urgent action from the transitional government.
Their message: security, food, shelter and leadership. The demonstration follows a week of escalating unrest, with over 1,600 people killed this year alone as gangs tighten their grip on the city. Despite rare pushbacks, like the ousting of gang members from a Catholic school, most neighborhoods remain under siege. We need security, we need food, we need a place to sleep, we need healthcare. If you are the head of the state and you feel you can't take the responsibility, turn away and leave. If you don't feel up to the task, ask someone else. We have a 7-member presidential council. We cannot stand it anymore. With over 1 million displaced and Haiti's police force overstretched, international pressure is mounting. On Friday, the U.S. designated 2 major gangs as foreign terrorist organizations, a move aimed at dismantling their power, but one that could complicate humanitarian aid delivery in a nation already on the brink.
The University of the West Indies says its unfunded pension is dragging the institution's balance sheets and is moving towards its reform. Sunil Lala of TTT News has more.
That consolidation shows that the university has made an operational surplus. But then we put this unfunded pension liability in the mix and we move from having a surplus to having a negative. And the headlines in the newspapers will say, UB has a deficit.
That's the remark that Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, indicated is dragging the balance sheet of the institution year by year.
It would not say that through no fault of our own, we are carrying an unfunded pension liability, which is dragging us back. We now have to begin this process. The university cannot continue. We are facing a cliff, and if we continue like this, we're going to fall off the cliff. We must own this.
He pointed out that the UWI had implemented pension supplementation 3 decades ago to attract international academics, with regional governments initially committing to supporting the initiative.
The pensions of international colleagues, they would come, we supplemented their pensions so that when they retire, because the salary differential between UB and these universities was so large, we took a decision to supplement. So that when these colleagues came from North America, from Australia, England, they would come, they would teach, they would have supplementation, they would go home. And that was the arrangement we entered. It was agreed by the governments will provide the supplementation. Well, they have stopped. And now we have to carry that. They have stopped.
Professor Sir Hilary Beckles said the UWI had no choice but to reform the pension system, since the university now has to find millions to honor that supplementation.
That the Mona campus is presenting a strategy fully endorsed by the Financial and General Purposes Committee to begin the process of reforming our pension obligation. It is our duty to do it. That's our responsibility. The actuaries have told us, unless you take a grip of this situation, it will suck the University of the West Indies into a dark place.
He said the university is now pivoting to open its first offshore medical campus with its first cohort of students in the new academic year. Sir Hilary also welcomed Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar back into the role of Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, noting that she's the one that pushed the UWI South Campus.
Just 10 years ago, Prime Minister Bissessar of Trinidad and Tobago the government had made that investment of 100 acres of land at Pinal de Bay and $100 million US dollars to develop that infrastructure. So in a sense, that was the pioneering project from Prime Minister Bissessar, and we are happy to have her back because we would like her to do more of this.
I am Sonolala with your TTT News Business Insight.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.